that have not seen him play yet, his game. Give us his style of game.
Yeah.
Who is he?
Very, very bullish, very brash around the basket. He is a 6'7.5", 6'8", kind of wide-bodied, ferocious kid on the glass. His offense comes within 10 feet of the bucket. He did a lot of shooting from the perimeter this summer, and I don't think that's his game. His game is in that paint, and Bob Huggins will appreciate him, and he'll appreciate being coached by Bob Huggins. This guy's just a kid who does a lot of damage in the lane, and he's a very conscientious rebounder.
Yeah. Dave Telep is our guest, ESPN's national basketball analyst.
Dave, Jabari Parker from Chicago's Simeon High was probably the most publicized player in this tournament. I saw earlier you tweeted Tyus Battle was very impressive. Who else did you like out of this tournament?
Well, the people who if you saw Jabari Parker this weekend, he is about a month removed from a 5-week layoff from breaking his foot. Somehow, and I'd love to know how he did this, he lost 20 pounds since December 13th, and his game and his conditioning is coming back. He was very good. Jahlil Okafor from Whitney Young in Chicago was fantastic. Another post player, Dakari Johnson, who committed to West Virginia, was outstanding. The best point guard at the event is going to Florida. His name's Casey Hill. He's the number 2 point guard in the country, and you saw what a point guard on ice skates looked like as he kind of tore up the competition at Simeon. And the guy that I was talking about, I think folks in the stands, sometimes you forget, but Tyus Battle is from New Jersey. He was a 14-year-old, 6'5" freshman swingman, scoring the ball like an advanced high school, if not early college player with his jump shot over the weekend. That was really impressive.
Hey, Dave, how about another in-state program, Huntington Prep? They were in the tournament as well, and obviously the big attention on them with Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah, Huntington Prep lost their first game of the year to a team out of Dallas, founded by Deion Sanders, Prime Prep Academy. Huntington had been struggling coming into the game, so it was no surprise that they had a setback. They haven't found the continuity in their team yet this year, laced with talent, just haven't put the pieces together. And Andrew Wiggins was good, but certainly not to the level he's capable of playing. But Huntington Prep, at the end of the day, when you peel away all the layers, has between 7 and 9 Division I players on their roster. So, what you guys saw this weekend was not a normal smattering of talent in Wheeling Jesuit. It was very, very high level.
Dave Telep is our guest, ESPN's national basketball analyst. What do you think with Dr. Merrick, Greg Merrick, with what he's done with this event? Can this thing get bigger from an ESPN perspective? Obviously, now the games are being broadcast. They're high-level games. You had the recruiting announcement during the course. Where do you think this event can go, or has it this is as good as it gets?
Well, I don't know what Dr. Merritt's plans are for the future of the event. From our perspective at ESPN, I certainly hope we continue to go there because, you mentioned bigger, and we're in a time where everything's getting bigger, from conference realignment to facilities at schools. I go to a lot of events. I hope it doesn't get bigger. I like it that it's hard to get a ticket to, that there was some intimacy, that there was really outstanding crowds. I think sometimes you can outgrow your venue. And I think Wheeling Jesuit and this field this side is perfect for the region and the area. I think he's got a great thing going. Like I said, I probably go to 30, 35 of these things a year, and it was really enjoyable.
ESPN national basketball analyst Dave Telep is with us. Give me a big picture perspective here, buddy. With what John Calipari is doing on an annual basis of putting together these recruiting classes that sometimes you couldn't even put together on Xbox in building a fantasy team. Where do you think, from a historical perspective, what Cal is doing now in this recruitment, where does this stand all time as far as getting the best players? Has it ever been done before?
No, you have to go all the way back. The only way to really draw any kind of comparison, there's two comparisons. When you talk about maybe the run of players, you would have to go all the way back to John Wooden's UCLA teams. But recruiting was different then. It wasn't. We didn't know as much about it as we do now. But that type of talent that was running through UCLA, I got to think that that's what Kentucky would look like right now. In the modern era, there is no comparison. Every year he hangs another national recruiting title banner, and the race for second place is a race for second place with no chance to ever be first at this point. So it's historic. I was on the plane yesterday, and I realized it's kind of taboo to say something is as good as the Fab Five, because we hold the Fab Five as this cultural, social, and basketball plateau.
Right.
But I think that this recruiting class that he has right now, this 2013 group, if you lined it up on paper, and that's really how you can equally judge this, because you can't let their accomplishments in college and post-college skew your thought process in evaluating these classes. I think this class is better than the Fab Five.
Yeah. Not going to put you out on a rope here, but obviously that class blew up because it was paid for. Big picture stuff here. Big picture stuff. Not mentioning any schools at all. Percentage-wise, how many schools do you think out there, major college basketball, I'm not going to say major college, and the top 200 programs are just flat out buying players?
You know, the answer to that is closer to zero than you think, and I'll tell you why. Because the way in which things are done these days, this is not Eric Dickerson rolling up in a Camaro, okay? That's not how things go anymore.
It's the AAU coach rolling up in the Camaro.
No, it's not. It's not even that. We have an underbelly of NBA agents and runners that oftentimes are facilitating payments and things like that. But they're not always in line with schools. The payment of players is not as much from a school perspective anymore as it is from an agent and runner perspective. And I think a lot of people have difficulty kind of grasping that concept. But that's been a change in our game. You know, that Emory envelope that arrived to Chris Mills' house
right
in 1985 with $10,000 hanging out of it, that just doesn't happen anymore. Our world is different. But cheating happens, and I hang it a lot on agents and runners as opposed to flat-out schools and boosters, at least on the basketball side.
Yeah.
And you asked that question in reference to Kentucky, and I've gotten that a lot.
No, I'm not. I really wasn't. I really wasn't asking. I was just asking big picture stuff. What do you think was out there?
So a lot of people ask that question about Kentucky, and the answer to the question with Kentucky is when you have a ticket to the NBA green room, when you've had 15 guys drafted in the last 4 years in the first round, when Kentucky offers you a scholarship as an elite high school player right now, it's in your best interest to really consider that if you're making a collegiate business decision. Because what Kentucky's done is they've eliminated the risk for kids who think they're good enough NBA players because they've hardwired a line to the green room. And the kids think about three things actually. They think about getting to the league, the relationship with their coach, and then third, trying to win a national championship. And Kentucky right now has all of those bases covered.
Yep, I don't disagree with you. Don't disagree at all.
Dave, one of the fun things for fans at these tournaments is to kind of watch for the what coaches are rolling into the building. Give us a sense of who was there over the weekend.
You know, John Calipari was there. He left actually before Dakari Johnson made his announcement, probably in deference to some compliance issues. Didn't want to be around when that was going on. We had Kevin Ollie, newly minted head coach for Connecticut men's basketball program, and you saw a litany of assistants. It's difficult, guys, sometimes during post-Christmas events because almost every college is either playing on Saturday or Sunday.
Right.
So if this event was in the middle of December, you would have saw an even greater participation with college coaches. But just Saturday afternoon in the window where this event is, the week right after Christmas, it's a brutal schedule for colleges to try and get there all the time to watch kids that weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Huggs, for example, couldn't make it because the Mountaineers played at 4. And by the time he was out of there and all the media stuff, it just wouldn't have worked. So, yeah, you're exactly right. Hey, Dave, great stuff. We enjoy following you on Twitter, on ESPN.com as well. We appreciate the insight, and hopefully we'll catch up here in the not-too-distant future as these players continue to commit and more development for some of the likes that West Virginia has coming its way.
All right, guys, I appreciate you having me on. Your city took my voice, though. I need my voice back.
We can do it, man. We'll get you back.
All right, have a good one.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Dave Telep, ESPN's national basketball analyst.